Hello, this is a short introductory video for Node.js. It is meant for programmers who have come from some other word, .NET, Java, C, C++, and can be a very quick refresher to how these different things are being dealt in Node. So these are the topics which are listed here, and we'll see all of them. So let's start with the function. The definition of function remains the same, and representation also remains the same. So this is how you define it in a Node.js or a JavaScript, and we can see the same executed also. So basically, the function, and if you just say node display, sorry, the name of the class, name of the file is function. So I'll just do a node function, and we can see that this is the one which has invoked the function, and we saw it running. Anonymous function. The next thing which we wanted to deal with was anonymous function. So anonymous function has no name, like you can see here. And in Node or in JavaScript, functions are first class citizens, which means functions can be treated as objects. So here show is containing the function, and then we can use the object to call the function. So if I show you that, then a node anonymous, and we can see that this function anonymous function is being called. The third thing which we wanted to see was arrow functions. So functions we have seen, anonymous we have seen, iffy. Iffy is basically immediately invoked function execution. Okay, so this is like if you define this iffy in a file, it will be executed. You need not call the function specifically. It will be automatically. Like for example, here you are calling with the help of this invokee. So you are saying show to execute this function. But in the case of iffy, there is this bracket after the function declaration, these bracket. This means that this function should be immediately invoked. So let's see node. So it got executed. So as we can see, it got executed. So yes. So the next thing was arrow functions. Let's quickly see arrow functions. So this is anonymous. We already saw. The same thing can be written with the help of these arrow functions also. So here what you have to do is just give these braces and then this arrow and then the definition. If the definition is multi-line, you have to use the braces. And if it is having parameters, then you have to give the parameters as well. Okay, so this is the example of the parameter, the function with the parameters, and the above one is a function without parameters, and this is basically multi-line. So we have put these braces here to have it multi-line. Okay, we can quickly see it being executed also. So let me do that. Node arrow functions, and we can see. Yeah, I'll just open this also. So we can see that the first anonymous function with the arrow format. So we can see that this is arrow. How it is getting called is here. These are these functions are kept as objects, and we are using these objects to invoke these functions. The third thing is add 3 comma 3 with a regular function, with the arrow function, with a multi-line. So multi-line has a console statement as well, and thereby we have to have this bracket. Okay, and remember that in the end of the bracket, it's must to have a semicolon. Okay, so that's about this. Then let's see what else is there. Callbacks. So yeah, callbacks is very important, and everywhere in a node we have asynchronous functions. So which means these callbacks are being used everywhere. So it is important to understand them. So synchronous functions are basically blocking functions, which means unless the function is completed, it will not go to the next statement. And asynchronous functions are the functions which can execute and then like the main function still executes, and then we are able to get the notification with the help of callback that this got finished. So let's see it with a demo, and it will be much more clearer. So let me open this again, and yeah, so non-blocking, and this is the blocking. So let me open the blocking, and so what is happening here is basically this file, the input.txt has some dummy text. it is reading it in a blocking way. So this is reading it in a, we can see it's a sync function, file read file sync. So it is reading the file in a synchronous way. Once the reading is done, the data which was fetched is being converted to string and logged, and finally it says program ended. So it's a sequence. This executes and then this executes. But if we see the non-blocking, so here the same thing is being done with a non-blocking way. And in the non-blocking way, what we are doing here is uh, we are doing the read file. Now, because we are not using read file sync, it is basically read file async. So it expects us to have the two parameters. One is the file. The second thing is the function, the callback function, which should be executed. Now, it is important to notice is that as a paradigm, the first parameter of function, callback function, is error. So that's what is being used here also. So this callback function executes once the reading of the file is done, and finally we would be able to have this printed here. So if we execute this program now, because IO is a time-consuming process, we shall be able to see end of program execution first, and then the content of the file. So let me do that. Let me clear it. So as we can see, this is the end of the program execution is coming first, and then we can see the content of the file. So this is the content of the file. I can quickly show you also cat. So this is the content of the file which we saw. Okay, so let's move to the uh, other point. So just to for completeness, just read the definition once. A callback function helps in writing async functionality. Callback function is called when a task is completed. Okay, so we were doing this reading. Once it got completed, this function shall be called. Like I said, it is the last parameter in a async function. Okay, it is always the last, and the first parameter of it is always the error. Okay, called when the task is completed, which helps to avoid any blocking and allows other code to run in the meantime. So basically, this code ran in the meantime till it was able to read the file. This we have seen multiple times. We are what, but it is still a very important concept to write in isolation. So what it means is that the functions are treated as objects in JavaScript. So we can pass them, we can use them as objects. So here, if we see this code, the same thing, it is printing something, and what we are seeing here is that we are having this function text for print, which is contained in this variable, and then in the printer I'm passing this inside this. Okay, and then the execution takes place. So if we see this function as a variable thing, so we can see that. So it logs whatever the functionality is that it calls a function, and then inside that the past function is getting called. So printer myfunc is what this. So it will log the text which is there, which is some text. Okay, now let's go to the other part. What is the other thing? See, this is one of the very, very important thing, and this is what takes lot of time if we don't understand how the module import and export is done. So modules are same like in any other programming language. We want to have reusable code, which we want to use across, and we want to have modularity in the code so that basically the classes are not cluttered, single responsibility for the it's not class, but still the functionality is grouped together with single responsibility in one single file. So that's what this is going to help us in. And we can see two parts here. One is the export and one is the import. So this right side, which I'm seeing here, so let me put a marker. So this right side, somehow my this thing is not working, marker is not working, but this one is the right side part is the right side part. This part is the one where we are exporting the function. So we can see here that we have this function. One function is this my function, one is hello, and then we are saying we want to export these two function, my function as my function. So it will be leveraged in the import also by the name my function. We'll see that. The other way we can export is by directly writing exports, and then we are using the arrow format here, and then we are able to do the export for a variable also. And then in the import, how we are using it. In the import, what we do here is we have to say require. So require is what is importing the this file. And then this object which was like import object, so this is the one where all these functions have come and all these other functions, and the parameter has come. So the moment I call the name of this object and the variable, sorry, the function, it gets executed. So that's what this exported functions are being called here, and we are able to see them executing here. So that's what it is all about. So hello, and this one, the same get name, this function, the age, this one. Okay, and then there is another file which is there, which we'll see in a bit. This is for the other import which we are doing, but let's see the first part first. So if I go here, and this is the library, uh, which is basically the file, which is a module which is getting imported here. And let me just comment it for a bit. And so if I do this node use module, see, so we can quickly we can see that the functions which were being imported here, like my function, hello, this one, they are getting called, and we are able to get the values, either the values or the execution from the module file. Now, the other way to define a module, which we will see mostly in our in most of the cases in the big files, we'll be seeing these, is this way. So what is happening here is, again, this is another module which we have written. It expects two parameters. So here we are able to see that it expects two parameter. One is a callback, one is a input variable, and then it leverages these variables. So if it's a very simple one. So if x is less than 0, it throws an error. If x is greater than 0, it does something for 2 seconds and just replies back. Okay, that's what is inferred here. That's what this does. So in the use module, now what I'll do is I'll be I'll be using this library, and I shall be, let me just comment the previous part. So I shall be using this library, and then what I shall be doing is let me, yeah. So then after getting this library here with the help of require, what I'm doing here is I'm calling the same, and I am like I said, there are two parameters. One is for the callback, and one is the variable, input variable. So that's what is being represented here. So if I do, let me, so what it did, it basically executed inside my implementation. Okay, inside my implementation, if we see here is this one. So it got executed immediately, and post that it took 2 seconds to write this, complete my job. Okay, so if we see here that we have provided a positive variable, if I make it a negative variable, it'll throw a error. So let me do that. So this is the error which is getting printed here because I have done a console log for the error. Okay, so hope these are very, very basic things, but I was a little confused when I started Node. So that's where I just consolidated these things, and I thought I'll put it in a video format also for later references. And the content of these files is placed in Git. I'll put the location of the Git on the description of the video. Thank you very much.